Notice: the following video has been made to abide by YouTube's terms of service. Hello everyone. The BLM has managed to obtain a reputation as an organization that's rather angry, to put it mildly.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
The whole force said, oh my God, he's against cops.
Well, they're very thin-skinned.
They're very thin-skinned. Y'all can't even accept realness. That's why I hate y'all. This is how they stand in East New York. This is how they stand in Brownsville.
Summertime, they're going to show their muscles.
Not to mention their anti-cop motif has inspired tragedies like the ones in Dallas and Baton Rouge. So it's no surprise then that people aren't exactly willing to join their cause. And there's been a movement to help police officers called Blue Lives Matter, made in response to the assassination of 2 police officers on December 20th, 2014. There is also a hashtag called All Lives Matter, which focuses on the belief that the life of every single human being is important, not just a single group of people. The BLM, as well as SJWs, don't like this hashtag, calling it racist. Which is why a user named Meghan Tonjes, a singer and songwriter, has made a video to try to convince people to stop using said hashtag. Now, Undoomed and Tyler Preston 20 have already talked about this, but I figured I'd give it a go as well. We'll be dissecting some of this video's arguments and see if they hold any water. So, let us begin. Kind of shows what she thinks of herself, huh?
I have a question.
I happen to notice that you're filming your video inside your bedroom. Is it some kind of safe space for you?
I actually have a special request, and that is, can you please stop saying all lives matter?
What's with these SJWs trying to control what we say or do? First, they're trying to make us use pronouns that don't exist in the English language. Then we have SJWs complaining about us complaining about things we don't like. And now we have this SJW complaining about us using a hashtag that she doesn't like.
We get it. We know.
If you really did get it, you wouldn't be making this video at all.
This is a personal request from someone who has social media and Facebook and a soul, somewhat, the ability to listen and reason and then react accordingly.
An ability to reason, listen, and act accordingly, eh? You mean something like this?
Okay, well, when you do that, we're never going to have a civil discussion.
I don't give a fuck. I don't want to have a civil discussion. I want to call you assholes. By believing these ideas, you're inherently disrespectful of people of color, of women, of gay people, of people with depression.
How are we inherently disrespectful to those people?
Because your policies hurt us, and you're white assholes, white bros.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I'm white, and that automatically means I'm
So
gay.
a white guy's not allowed to have any opinion?
Well, you have shitty opinions. Like,
I mean, you're allowed to be as rude as you want, but
yeah, exactly.
at the end of the day,
And you're allowed to be as privileged and much of a dickbag as you want.
USA! 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 USA!
Just shouting USA is the only thing your patriotism needs!
Please stop using hashtag all lives matter. You sound like a condescending piece of shit.
Hypocrisy, thy name is Megan.
We could talk about how when a house is burning down, you don't pour water on all of the houses because all houses matter.
Ah, the burning house analogy. In that case, allow me to quote a better one made by Undoomed. The BLM is like dumping gasoline on a fire. It pretty much fits the movement's modus operandi at this point.
We could talk about Cheska Lee's many videos on impact versus intent, what you think you're saying versus what you're actually saying and how it affects people.
You know what? I dare you to show these videos to terrorist groups and see what they think about it.
Now, if all of these have escaped your social media, congratulations, you follow all of the wrong people.
I'm guessing that you only want us to follow SJWs just like you, right?
So let's fix that in 2016.
So because it's the current year, I have to either agree with you or else I'm considered evil. You realize that's a straw man argument you're using, right?
But as your potential Facebook friend...
Not interested.
Probably not. Let me tell you that if I see you write all lives matter, I'm gonna swoop on that ass. I can't be held accountable for the reasonable, beautiful things I'm going to say.
Which translates to calling me a racist and trying to either silence me, humiliate me, or forcing me into following your ideals.
First of all, you don't understand the origin of hashtag Black Lives Matter.
We are fully aware of the movement's history, but we are more focused on its actions.
or the importance of what it's doing in the world right now. And because you don't understand that hashtag All Lives Matter was really a very condescending response to hashtag Black Lives Matter, an attempt at erasing actual problems that are happening in the world, actual racism and the effects of that racism, especially when it's put into the hands of people who have too much power and access to weapons.
Do you remember the Dallas shooter named Micah Johnson? He was there to kill white people, especially white officers, and he had access to weapons.
And aren't necessarily accounted for in their actions. And no, that is not me saying that I'm anti-cop. I'm not anti-cop. I'm anti-racism. And I'm anti the power being in the wrong hands.
From whose hands? Police? If you took power away from them, it'd be much easier for crimes like murder, arson, and assault to occur in your neighborhood.
And if we're really going to go on that tangent, first of all, if you're someone who promotes All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter because you support police, but you are very upset or offended at Black Lives Matter, you need to ask yourself, what word in that upsets you?
Are you implying that people who support All Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter are inherently racist against black people? Again, it's the BLM's actions that make us upset and angry.
Hashtag Black Lives Matter does not mean that you are anti-cop. I know that's like an oversimplification. It's not being anti-cop.
And yet there are videos of BLM marchers calling for dead cops. Case in point.
Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon. Pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon.
To deny systemic racism, to sit here and say white people and brown people and black people are all treated the same, you are absolutely ignorant. And you're lying to yourself, and you're lying to everyone else. And because you're lying and you're completely avoiding the truth, your silence is allowing the continued murder of black people with no justice.
That was the sound of me banging my head against the table from how absolutely ridiculous that statement was.
Literally seen the arguments in my comments being like, well, more white people were killed. Okay, more white people were killed in a calendar year. Congratulations. Have you taken into account statistics or population or any of that?
Look up anything from the Federal Bureau of Investigations or the Bureau of Justice regarding violent crimes, and I guarantee you will find said evidence.
Well, I believe that all lives matter because all lives are important, and I love everything. I won't go into a tangent about how you probably don't because you probably eat meat. Just do all lives matter? Or just the ones that you decide are worth living? That's a different topic for a different day.
So what does a person's diet have anything to do with the belief of all human lives being important? That little chuckle you had at the end indicates a holier-than-thou attitude towards others.
When you have millions of people telling you this is the origin for this hashtag, this is what this hashtag was in response to, and this is what it really means, what the impact of it actually is, and your response is, well, no, I'm just going to believe what I want to believe.
What Meghan has demonstrated is the use of an appeal to popularity fallacy. Here she's saying that a lot of people apparently know the real reason the All Lives Matter hashtag was made, which to her and the BLM is a racist counter to what they feel is right. Well, here's my question to them. What if people are just using the All Lives Matter hashtag to display their belief in all lives being important? Are they considered wrong just because they don't follow your movement?
You're making a direct choice to just say fuck you to everyone who's telling you, hey, that hurts. That doesn't help.
That's just life, Meghan. Not everyone's going to share the same beliefs that you have. You're going to have to learn to deal with it and try not to silence them.
If you believe that all lives do matter, in order for all lives to matter, Black lives have to matter. And currently they are not treated with the same amount of value. You cannot deny that. And if you are denying that, you are
Look, I admit that people can be born in bad situations, but that doesn't mean they can't get themselves out of it. A person's character is grown through adversity. And if they just sat around and only waited for help all the time, then they're not going to experience that growth at all.
Y'all will really reach to find a way to avoid this conversation about racism and like, oh my god, I have to take some kind of responsibility, not because I made this happen, but because I'm continuing to benefit from the society that allows this to happen.
And here we see the pretentiousness of the SJW. It just never changes, does it, folks?
If you can't take the time to educate yourself and to really go on Google and explore what All Lives Matter means.
The Washington Post compiled a database of all people that were shot and killed by police officers. It found that out of the 990 people that were killed, 494 were white, 258 were black, 172 were Hispanic, 38 were other, and 28 were unknown. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense, because if the BLM's claims were true, then this database would show a lot more black victims than white victims. But if you have some umbrage of me using the Washington Post database, you can also check out the Bureau of Justice's databases as well as the FBI's.
If you don't have the time to do that, then you shouldn't have the time to be on Facebook writing All Lives Matter and just flouncing around deciding that you and your interpretation just supersedes everything else.
I just noticed something. The modus operandi of a social justice warrior is similar to that of a religious fanatic, believing that their interpretation of reality is correct, and anyone else who disagrees with them is either a moron or is causing society's woes and therefore the enemy.
People are sick of not having equality and not having rights. It's not about waiting anymore for rights. It's about demanding them.
We actually have a document that helps list the rights that we have in this country. It's called the United States Constitution, and this document contains a plethora of rights, which include, but not limited to, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to bear arms, and so forth. As if that wasn't enough, the United States Constitution has a series of amendments to extend these rights. There's the 14th Amendment, which extends civil rights to all citizens of the United States. There's the 15th Amendment, which extends suffrage or the right to vote to all people by race. The 19th Amendment, which extends the right to vote to women. The 24th Amendment, which extends voting rights further by removing poll taxes. And the 26th Amendment, which extends voting rights to those at the age of 18. And to top things off, we actually have a series of acts that have been passed in order to prevent discrimination, such as the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and so forth.
The demand to be treated like a fucking human being, to not be gunned down without any just cause. People in this country don't magically lose their prejudice or racism because they're sworn into an office, or because they stand in front of a judge and say, I'm going to protect people, or because they work in a school, or because they work in a hospital. It's one of the things that doesn't discriminate.
I don't quite understand the point you're trying to make with that statement. Are you implying that anyone in a position of power like the President of the United States, or anyone who works in the field of medicine, security, or education is a bigot?
So to all the people writing All Lives Matter, please, I'm trying to help you not look like a piece of shit.
And yet, you're acting like one with that holier-than-thou attitude of yours.
I'm trying to educate you.
Translation? I want to brainwash you into thinking the exact same way as me.
On something that you really should be tuned into. The fact that for the past 3 weeks, all we've heard is how we're gonna lose our guns. We have to have our guns. There are responsible gun owners. And then someone who's a responsible gun owner and has a license gets shot because the cop's nervous.
Considering the nature of police work, I wouldn't be surprised if they were nervous around a gun owner. After all, it's a job where at any moment, someone could just pull out a weapon and try to kill you with it. And gun owners, if you don't want to get shot, cooperate with the police. If you have a concealed weapon permit or carry permit, let them know about it. They'll appreciate it.
If you weren't upset about that, as a gun owner, as a fellow gun owner, what you really believe is that white people should have guns. People that look like me should have guns.
Well, I certainly wouldn't want you using a gun, because I get the feeling you might try to use it to enforce your will.
Those are the people that are going to keep us safe, and those are the only people that can be trusted. And therein lies your fucking racism.
This sounds like a psychological projection fallacy to me.
I highly urge you to check out people who don't look like you.
Isn't it odd that social justice warriors claim to be fighting racism, yet end up saying and doing things that are actually racist?
Who are telling you their experiences and to use whatever privilege it is that you have, if you have any.
And here Meghan pulls out the trump card of the SJWs, the check your privilege argument. The biggest problem with this argument is that it's actually an ad hominem argument, meaning against a person in Latin. Essentially, it's used to attack a person's character as opposed to attacking their argument. SJWs have a tendency to use this argument because they want to stifle or silence those they disagree with. Meghan ends the video by restating the arguments she's made, which can be summed up in one simple statement. Either you do what I say, or else you are declared a bigot. In any case, we're all done with this for tonight. So, I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.